I accepted a marriage proposal from one man while still secretly dating another. I don't know where to start from, and honestly, I don't even know how to. But I need help. I need a solution. I'm too ashamed to even admit some of the things I've done, but I want my life back. I want my relationship back. Hello to anyone reading this. Please tell me what to do. I'm just a woman who didn't think things through and let herself be clouded by emotions, by confusion, by mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes at some point in life, right? But this mistake has cost me a lot and has shattered my life. But I believe it can be fixed. I have cried my heart out, and I have done everything I thought could help, but it didn't. This regret is unbearable. I just need someone to guide me, to tell me if there's still hope to make things right. Please help me. My name is Emily. There were two men in my life who meant the world to me, John and Chris, but John is the man I want back in my life. The thought of losing him is killing me. Before John came into the picture, Chris and I had been together. We've dated for 4 good years, and that's the most painful part of it, because it's all wasted years. When we started dating, Chris insisted that our relationship must remain a secret, something I could never truly understand. At first, I accepted it, telling myself that love didn't need to be displayed to be real. But deep down, I'm someone who believes in celebrating love, showing it off like a treasure. Keeping us hidden felt wrong. It didn't sit right with me, but I accepted it. In the beginning, Chris was everything I wanted in a partner. He was charming, attentive, and seemed to know exactly how to make me feel special. He made me laugh, he made me feel wanted, and in those early days, I was sure I had found something lasting. But slowly, cracks began to form in the perfect image I had of him. Chris became possessive. He wanted to know where I was at all times, who I was with, and what I was doing. At first, I thought his concern was endearing, a sign of how much he cared. But over time, his constant questions and demands for updates began to feel less like love and more like control. I started to feel trapped, like I couldn't breathe without him needing to know why. I tried to introduce him to my friends, but since no one was supposed to know we were dating, I had to pretend he was just another friend. It hurt me so deeply. I wanted to show him off, to tell the world he was mine, but instead, I had to keep it all inside. And then there was his behavior in public. He talked to other women, even my own friends, in ways that made me annoyed. Knowing he was my partner made it feel like a betrayal, even though no one else knew. I talked to him about it, pouring my feelings out to him, but nothing changed. He'd promised to do better, but his actions didn't change. There were nights when he visited me at home, and I was trying to finish some works. I couldn't drop everything the moment he arrived, but he never understood that. He'd sulk or get angry, demanding my full attention. It was exhausting trying to balance my responsibilities and his never-ending need for validation. The more I gave, the more he seemed to take, and it made me feel drained and unappreciated. Despite all this, I stayed. I stayed because I loved him, because I believed that love meant fighting through the hard times. I stayed because I wanted to believe he could change, that things could go back to the way they were in the beginning. But there was a moment when I couldn't take it anymore. One evening, after another argument, I asked him why he insisted on keeping our relationship a secret for years now. His response left me shattered. "As long as I'm not cheating, it's fine," he said. Fine? How could it be fine for me to feel invisible, to feel like I was hiding something so important? That was the moment I knew I had to walk away. Chris begged me to stay, promising that we could fix things, but I couldn't do it. I was tired of the secrecy, the control, and the constant frustration. For the first time in a long time, I chose myself. I ended things, hoping to find some peace, some clarity. But healing before stepping into a new relationship is always advised, and maybe I should have listened. When John came into my life, I was still madly in love with Chris. Why I left Chris was not because the love I had for him faded, but it was the position Chris had put me in, and it really hurt me. I should have taken things slow with John, allowed myself to heal, but instead, I saw him as someone who could help me move on faster. John was everything Chris wasn't anymore: caring, loving, and understanding. He respected my decisions, my work, and my life. We were the perfect couple, and for the first time in a long while, I felt genuinely happy. 7 months into our relationship, John wanted to take things to the next level, and I was totally fine with that. I could see a future with him. But along that way, Chris was back. Chris, who hurt me and left me shattered, told me he couldn't move on. He wanted us back. A part of me had never truly healed from that heartbreak, and against my better judgment, I gave him a listening ear. I was still tethered to the memories of our time together, the years we shared before it all went wrong. I knew I should have said no, but I didn't. Chris and I started seeing each other again, but in secret. 4 years of being with Chris made it hard to untangle from him. He wasn't just an ex. He had been a friend long before we dated, and while I knew I was betraying John, I couldn't seem to stop myself even though I tried. I knew I was stupid, but I couldn't help it. When Chris asked about John, I downplayed our relationship, telling him it was nothing serious, that John was just someone I was trying to figure things out with. It was a lie, of course, but one I convinced myself was harmless. I regret those words more than I can say. I should have known that if Chris truly loved me, he wouldn't have been okay with me being with another man. I should have known that Chris didn't love me. He just loved the feeling of us together. I told myself that it was revenge for Chris. And when John proposed, I would show Chris my engagement ring and walk away. But that was a lie. That was me trying to justify my actions whenever I felt guilty. John, always the reserved man, proposed to me. He asked me to marry him during a family dinner, and I said yes. I was happy. Everyone was happy for us, and John seemed very happy as well. He told me he was the luckiest man in the world to have a woman like me. But deep down, I felt guilt. The guilt didn't stop me from seeing Chris behind John's back. I tried detaching, but I couldn't. I even hid my engagement ring from Chris, thinking that he truly loved me and he wouldn't be okay with the situation. But Chris knew that John was present in my life. Now looking back, that was a red flag. I told myself that soon I would end things with Chris, because everything was built on secrets, and I wanted to move forward with my life. John trusted me completely. He never questioned my movements or my intentions, and he didn't even know I was dating another man when he had already proposed to me. But one morning, everything came crashing down. Chris wanted to meet me at my place as usual, so I took off my engagement ring before he arrived. When I heard a knock at the door, I rushed to open it, only to find John standing there. My surprise nearly betrayed me. He asked if I was expecting someone else, and though I tried to play it off, I was visibly uneasy. I asked him why he came around without informing me, and he responded with if I had any problem with it. I told him no, and he asked me to dress up. He was taking me somewhere. I excused myself to call Chris and cancel, but he didn't answer the call. John noticed I wasn't wearing my ring and asked about it. I lied, saying it was nothing, but unluckily for me, things took another turn. Chris showed up. He had a habit of walking in whenever the door wasn't locked, and this time he did exactly the same thing. John's face immediately changed, seeing how Chris just walked in. He asked who Chris was, and before I could answer, Chris spoke up. He said we are together, and we've been dating for years. I immediately defended myself, claiming Chris was joking, but the damage was done. That stupid Chris furiously revealed everything. John didn't say a word. He just left. I ran after him, begging for a chance to explain myself, but he wouldn't listen. I told him I just realized how foolish I was, that Chris and I are not in any serious relationship. But John was badly hurt. He couldn't believe I did that to him, and he drove away. When I returned to Chris, he was equally angry. That psychopath accused me of choosing John over him, and what he said only annoyed me the most. He admitted he wasn't ready to take the next step, that it was his personal decision. He didn't want marriage with me. He just wanted me by his side, and in secret. That was the final nail in the coffin. Then I realized what Chris and I had was hollow, was built on years of unresolved feelings and a refusal to let go. I've tried calling John, begging him over and over again, but he won't listen. I've lost him, and now I see how foolish I have been. The man I truly love is John, not Chris. But I've ruined everything, and I don't know how to fix it. Please, someone tell me what to do. Tears won't stop coming out of my eyes. I wished I could go back in time and make things right. There are days I even whisper John's name in silence, praying he'll hear me somehow, that he'll know how sorry I am, how much I love him since he won't give me a chance to see him. The most painful is when I found out John has moved on with someone else. It destroyed my whole being, but I stopped losing hope because I can't survive without him. Please, someone tell me what to do. I need John back, please. I can't move on. It hurts badly.